Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universe, a conversation with myself and Welsh. For those of you who haven't joined any of our shows, I would encourage you to keep tuning in. You can find us on YouTube or you can find us on our website at painlessuniversal.com. Today's conversation is focused on carving your own career path. Many people wait for that opportunity to be given to them, but sometimes you just have to find the opportunity because we're all good at something, but sometimes you have to find that extra effort and go out there and reach for your dream. And my guest did just that. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest. Bosma St. John is an American businesswoman and a marketing executive who is the Chief Marketing Officer at Netflix. Previously, she served as the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer at Endeavor, and Chief Brand Officer at Uber. She was also a marketing executive at Apple Music. After joining the company in its acquisition of Beats Music, she's also worked at PepsiCo, eventually serving as the head of music and entertaining music. In May of 2021, she was named among the 50 most influential female leaders in Africa within the corporate and business space by Leading Ladies Africa. This conversation will really talk about how did she get to carve her own career path? How did she get to stand out and believe who she truly is? We'll be asking her all these questions. And most importantly, we'll be asking her about her beautiful childhood and what led her on this part of her own journey to success today. Meet my amazing guest, Bozoma St. John, as we share a deep conversation about her own journey. And also, most importantly, listen to her words of advice on what she'll be telling us and what we can do to find our own joy and overcome our pain. Meet Bosma. Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to Painless Universe, a conversation with myself and Welsh. I've done the intro, and you know who I'm talking to. Bosma St. John. She is truly an amazing woman who has done really great things, especially being a Black woman. She's overcome barriers to achieve her dreams. I'm so excited to talk to her. Let's talk to Bosma. How are you today?
I am very, very well, and I'm very glad to be here with you and to have this lovely little chat that we're going to have.
Now, your schedule is extremely busy, and when you said yes, I had to really grab it because one of my what I wanted to focus about, carving your career path. So many young girls out there look at you and see where you've got to. You're the Chief Marketing Officer at Netflix. Before that, you've done so many great roles and you've achieved great success. And you're not you're not ashamed of being who you are. You stand out. You're comfortable in your own skin. Most people question themselves. They say, "Should I do this? Should I be this extreme? Should I stand out?" But you've done it very well, and you really is fitting off. You've made other girls who are struggling to say, should I go into work looking this way today, or should I go into work representing my true self? Bosma, before we get into all of that, can you tell me a little bit about who are you?
That's a really tough question, actually. Maybe it seems simple because we don't put a lot of effort into answering that question. I don't think on the regular basis. It's kind of a transient question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who are you? It can be answered in so many different ways, but perhaps today I'll answer it in that. In the moment that I'm feeling. Like I'm a mom who's very attentive. I'm a busy executive who is also very attentive. I am a caring friend who is also very attentive. And I'm a lover of myself, very attentive to myself.
I think that I love that last part. I'm a lover of myself. I think that is such a crucial thing in anything we do. What was growing up as a child? What was it like for you? How did you discover who you truly were growing up as a child?
Well, we moved around quite a bit when I was a kid. So we lived in a lot of different places. So I think discovery of self, comes through those experiences, right? Seeing yourself through other people's eyes and then understanding the parts that you really like and the parts that you don't like.
Yeah.
I think many of us, even in adulthood, take the things that we don't like and pretend they don't exist. And that's not true. I think the real understanding of self and discovering who you are is the ability to accept all of the parts, the flaws, the things you don't like, the things other people don't like that you might like. All of that is true acceptance. And so being a person who has had to reintroduce themselves a lot of times, not just in childhood and moving around to different schools and different countries. And you know what happens? It's like you show up on, the playground and you have to introduce yourself again. And in my adulthood, I've had to show up in different boardrooms and introduce myself again. And so that self-discovery is born out of a real understanding, of who I am and how other people see me.
When we define success, how did you start understanding I'm really on the right path here? This is something I need to go. I need to keep doing because I'm comfortable where I am and I'm on the right path of finding my success. When did you start realizing that this is the right path for me and I'm going to keep on this path?
The truth of the matter is that I never chase success. Success is not my goal. Okay. I'm not. That's not what drives me. And so even when I started, I wasn't chasing that as sort of the end. I was just chasing what it is that would make me feel purposeful, whole, excited, valued. Like those types of words are what I have used to chart my path. Yeah. And so even today, looking at what I'm doing now, if those things aren't checked off on my list, then I don't feel successful. It's like those things are actually what really matter. And you find success along the way because you were fulfilling those things. And so it's, again, a misnomer that it's like you've got to have the goal of success. Well, what does that look like? If you try to describe what success is it financial stability, financial wealth? Is it joy? Is it satisfaction? Is it power? Is it inspiration, aspiration? Like what does that mean? And so for me, it's really been a combination of things that have probably been interpreted as success. But for me, I want to be valued. That's it.
What I like fascinating about your life is that your parents are from Ghana. And many people might not know that you have two nationalities. You have the Ghanaian nationality, you have the USA nationality. And you've been able to combine those two skills and make it things to two different worlds, two different culture, and bring out that value from both worlds into everything you do. What have you learned? What lessons have you learned? Because so many people in the United States today, I think so many Blacks in the United States also from Africa, who've one country and the other in Africa, who's migrated and moved over to the United States. But you've been able to do that and also do that successfully. Your parents, even though you're born in the United States, but you still have that upbringing. Your parents, I'm sure, have restored that in you. What have you learned from both from two different cultures?
Well, I mean, that's kind of tough also because there isn't, for me, even though it may seem like dual citizenship, I'm one person.
Yes.
I don't turn on and off. It's not like in 1 minute I'm American, another minute I'm Ghanaian. I'm both those things constantly, all the time. There's no separation for me. And so I think this idea of being bicultural or having a dual citizenship or dual identity makes it seem as if there are two halves that come together to make a whole. And the truth is that that's not it at all. For me, they're just one and the same. They're blended together. And so there is no separation. You can't see where the Ghanaian part stops and the American part begins, or vice versa. It's not that I am more American when I'm in America or more Ghanaian when I'm in Ghana. I am both those things everywhere. And perhaps even as a lesson as we think about, the duality of many of us, right? Because it's not just about citizenship, but it's about whatever other identities you carry. It's like when you've been asked, like, oh, are you Black first or are you woman first? Well, I mean, how can I separate those two? Am I a mother first or am I a daughter first? How can you separate those two? It's like there are so many things that identify us in, who we are. And we're constantly in this middle of the tension point to separate them and say, okay, well, this is better than that, or I can, better identify with this part than that part. It's true acceptance of both of those things and knowing that they live concurrently in your body and who you are, that actually is the greatness of having that duality.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it because I hope anyone of those multiple nationalities watching this will understand that it is not wearing different hats. It's about being accepting wherever you are, embracing it. I'm British, I'm Nigerian, and I have to embrace both. I don't know where both are, but I don't wear them separately. I wear them together. And both of them serve me well. So I wear them together and I mix it up because I mix as well. Like you kind of said that you're a mother. Do you say you're a mother? Do you say you're this? And you just have to mix it well. And I love that. I hope anyone listening to the conversation will understand that you don't have to always question that aspect of you. Just mix it up and bring out the best. You talk openly about immersing yourself in pop culture. And I love that. And part of it was also always the need to fit in. And so you're trying to find the point of connection. How did you find, because that's really a critical thing, that point, that dot, that mixing, that dot, how did you find your point of connection? That these are my points that I wanted to go through. How did you do it?
You know what? I think that pop culture is one of those things that, is not really defined in our experiences, right? It's just fluid. It's like, what do you like to eat? What do you like to listen to? What do you like to wear? What do you like to watch? Like when you answer those questions, that is the beginning of pop culture. And so to me, it's about figuring out what those answers are for different types of people and what are the connection points between them so that there is some commonality and that you can create a message. And that's what I have built my expertise in, understanding where people connect in those answers. So it's like maybe you and I both like to eat a certain type of food, and we can create a community based off of that. And it's not that, it has to be two Black women or two women who are originally from Ghana that connects us, but over the food, because then perhaps somebody who doesn't look like us, doesn't have our background, can also be part of the group, can also be part of the conversation. And so to me, the connection points at the center of pop culture is just about finding similarities, so that you're not so different, from everyone else. And that perhaps what just meets the eye isn't the true experience that you're trying to understand from somebody. So pop culture has such power in being able to connect us in ways that perhaps nothing else in the world really can, because they've been given to us, versus us answering the questions organically.
That's true, because music, you listen to music, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what religion, they listen to the music and they're enjoying that music. No one is thinking who's actually playing that song. All they're doing is listening to the music and enjoying that tune. So if they could connect through that, then this is a magical way. Pop culture must have a magical way of connecting us, and we just have to find that uniqueness in each one of us that we bring together. And I love that, because so many people miss that gap, especially when they travel, they go to cultures and they're very afraid to fit in, but not knowing it's just about listening and finding that thing. You're exceptional in the sense that your role at Netflix, you're not only the chief marketing officer, but you're also helping in that diversity, using yourself as that spokesperson. You speak out openly about it. Why do you think it was quite important to represent the diversity and help companies in their voice towards diversity?
Well, I mean, the point of clarity for me is that, I'm not an expert in diversity and inclusion. I respect my colleagues who are the real professionals, who are educated in this way, who have made careers out of this particular role. And so I don't want to pretend like I'm that. But what I am is a Black woman who happens to be in mostly white spaces. And so for me, the idea of representing and being and showing and having the voice in the room, I take very seriously. There's obviously a lot of sometimes pent up resentment about that, because who wants to be the only one who has to represent for everybody? It's like if somebody asks you a question about your opinion, all of a sudden now you represent every Black person on the planet, and that's not accurate. It's not true, and it's not real. And so how I approach it is to better understand the rooms I'm in, the people I'm talking to, and how can I use my influence in that room to open the door for more experiences, for more people to come in. That's the way that I'm using my power, because I don't want to be the only one. I don't want to be the one who represents everybody. And so if I can just use my position to open more doors, then that's what I want to do. If I can open more minds to the idea that, oh, well, what you thought is not actually real, then I've really done something.
Bosma, I must ask you this question because our topic is really carving your career path.
Mm-hmm.
You carved your career path because you've always been very visual about what you truly want, and you know how to get it from Endeavor to Netflix, Uber. It doesn't matter what career path you were going on, you knew how to carve it. Most people are waiting for that career to come to them, but you're very visual about saying to people, it's not always about waiting. Sometimes you have to provide that path. But sometimes you have to build, you have to, I think Tyler Perry said it wisely. He said, most of my mates are going to Hollywood to go get the Oscars. And I was at my Atlanta in my little studio, building up this big platform. And when I heard his voice, when he said that, I was really amazed. I was like, actually, this is very true. Most people want to go get these roles, but they don't know how to. They don't realize sometimes you have to carve the career path. Can you just tell us what did you mean by carving your career path?
I mean, you've kind of said it, which is that sometimes you take a real passive approach to your career, which is the wrong thing to do. There's a difference between being entitled and grabbing the title. There's a real difference. Entitlement means that you sit back and wait, thinking that something is supposed to come to you simply because you are. There's some truth in that. Like, yes, of course, you're supposed to be able to do whatever you want to do simply because you are who you are. But the real difference is doing. You have to get up. You have to be ambitious. You have to be relentless. You have to have grit. You have to have passion in order to go and grab the title. So I am one who has never just sat back and waited for someone to grant me something simply because I thought I was deserving of it. I'm deserving of it, so I get up and go get it.
You reverse it. You know you're deserving of it, so then you go get it. Not say you're deserving of it, then wait for it to come to you. No, actually, I love that one. So, in terms of women, how do we encourage more women to speak up and lead their voice on the table? And I know it can be difficult to be in a public, in a big company like you are. How do you encourage more and more women to speak up and find their place where it's needed?
Yeah. Well, it's very much along the same lines, right? Of this idea of empowerment, because we actually do have to take action in getting the things that we want. I've seen a lot and heard a lot and talked to a lot of women, especially within the companies that I've been in, and sometimes as a mentor, to some young women coming after me, who are concerned about their experiences, feeling like they can't ask for the promotion, they can't ask for the increase in wage, they can't ask for the new opportunity because they haven't yet had enough experience to warrant, the experience, the position, the promotion that they want, or the money they want, or the experience they want. And that is simply not true. If you are looking at it and understanding that you actually have the capability and ability to do it, then that's what is called a stretch goal, a stretch job. It's something that you could do if you had the opportunity to do it. Now, a big part of that is self-awareness. I'm not saying stretch so far that you don't grab the ring. It's like, you remember when you were a kid and they had things called the monkey bars?
Yes.
And you would swing, you would hold on to one and then swing to the other one and then swing to the other one. Yeah. The stretch is in the swing. Knowing that I see that thing over there and I can grab it. And I have confidence that when I get it, I'll be stable. Now, the problem is, you probably also remember as a kid that sometimes if it was a really hot day or you had been running around before that, maybe your palms were a little sweaty.
Absolutely.
You couldn't really get the grip right. And so maybe you weren't as confident that if you really, really swung for the next one, you would grab it. That is the awareness of self. Are you ready? Can you actually do it? Not because you don't have the experience, but because you know that like if you reach out and grab it, that you'll actually be ready to conquer it. You'll be ready for the next swing and the next swing and the next swing. So in my experience, I have constantly been going and reaching for the next thing, not because I've had years and years and years of experience, but I know that when I grab onto the ring, I'll be stable and I'll be ready for the next one.
There's so much pain, Bosma, in everything we do today. I think with the whole thing you saw going on in the United States with the Black Lives Matters, there's just so much pain. I think a lot of Black people feel very insecure because although they might have a voice, they don't know how to go and use their voice. What advice would you give to young Black people who are struggling out there, just left university, not quite sure what next? How do I really go for this? How do I really go? How do I dig deep? What advice would you give them to really help them to in that carving of their career path to find their way and find their joy along the way?
Well, you just said the operative word, which is joy. There's a misunderstanding that revolution is born out of pain. It's not. Revolution is actually born out of joy, out of optimism, knowing that there is a better way, knowing that there is a better future, knowing that there is a better thing for me beyond the situation I'm in. That's how revolutions are born. Revolutions aren't born because you're sitting in pain thinking, woe is me. Oh, how did this happen? How can I go on? No, revolutionaries are optimists. That's actually the most incredible thing. I'm a true optimist. I know that there's something better for me. I know that the world is going to continue to open its doors to me because I'm going to go and get it. And I know I'm going to achieve it. If I was thinking that, all of these numbers and statistics about the lack of diversity and the people who have never made it to the top, if I constantly thought about that, I would never make it. I would talk myself out of my own greatness. And so I'm an optimist. That's the key. You have to have optimism. You have to have joy. And in fact, just the other day on my team, one of the wonderful executives who is working on a series called Dear White People, put up a series of billboards in Los Angeles and in other places too, but the one in Los Angeles on Sunset, which is a really big boulevard. It has a lot of really important buildings on it, etc., very high visibility. And there are 3 concurrent billboards. They say Black joy matters. And then the show, and it's the truth. I mean, that's the way that we overcome this very, very difficult position that we're in. I'm not at all trying to minimize the pain, the suffering, the oppression that Black people have felt, but nothing changes without our joy.
Oh gosh, that's really amazing. A final question before I let you go, because I know your schedule is absolutely hectic. You're an amazing lady. What brings you joy in your day-to-day life? What gets you going? Why do you do what you do?
What brings me joy? My daughter's future brings me joy. It's not even her present. It's not what she's doing today, even though I'm concerned about what she's doing today. And I love to see her explore and expand and become the woman that she's going to be. But her future is what drives me. I want her not only to have the best in the future, but to be her best in the future. Not based on what I am or what I've achieved, but basically that I'm able to open the doors for her that perhaps were not able to be opened for me. And so her future is what inspires me to continue to achieve what I'm achieving.
Wow, congratulations, and keep shining, keep making us believe, keep giving a lot of other women hope. And I really appreciate your time, Bosma. This is really great. Thank you so much for
my pleasure.
Thank
you so much for the opportunity. It's been really, really great to talk to you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.